All right, it's time to talk about being out there in the garden, and rain is great, except when it's not. And believe it or not, there are times when it's not a great thing when you get lots and lots of rain at one time. 10 of Your Science gardening expert Dabney Morgan is here, and he's ready to take your questions. Before we get to Angela on the line in Portsmouth, we know you're there. What do you mean by that? You told me before the break that sometimes the rain's not so good.
Exactly, because what's happening, a lot of folks are going out and watering like the day before the rain, then here comes the rain, and all of a sudden the little squash are turning brown on the ends.
Yeah.
The tomatoes are getting black on the bottom, and that's where it's just so much water all at one time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to take it out of the soil.
Exactly. The plant doesn't know to take it up, and you have a few problems. But I don't think we have any real serious problems. Just pull those fruit off, and then the next one should be fine.
All right, let's get to Angela. Thanks for waiting so patiently. What's your question for Dabney? I may have overestimated Angela's patience. Well, a lot of folks will. They'll see the lower humidity, and they'll want to get out there today, maybe catch up on some of the weeding and things.
Absolutely. That's the one thing that does happen. When you get rains like we're getting, the weeds are really popping, flower beds, gardens. The other thing, too, we need to be aware of, those of us that have fescue lawns, with all the rain that we've had and the humidity we had last week or so, we're starting to get some brown spots on our lawn. That's due to disease. So we want to treat for that, so we don't wipe our whole lawn out. And of course, because of the rain, the grass may be a little off color. We can put iron out. Iron is a good supplement to green your lawn without making it grow or causing adverse conditions that fertilizer would do.
Okay. All right, let's get right to Heidi. I don't want to lose another one today. Hey, Heidi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Fine.
good.
I wanted to ask Dabney, I bought 2 hibiscus trees this year, and their leaves are turning yellow and falling off on both the trees. What's the matter with that?
I really think, Heidi, you've got a problem with maybe too much water. Again, that's typical of overwatering, and a lot of folks, we have them in containers, but we've repotted them into a larger container, and you have all that soil, and all these soils we have on the market tend to retain a certain amount of moisture. So back off on the watering. Put a little fertilizer, but don't use the liquid fertilizer. Use a dry fertilizer, and it should grow right on out of it.
All right, Heidi, thanks for calling. Let's get to Becky in Virginia Beach. Hey, Beck.
Hi, how are you?
Fine.
Good. Here's my question. I have a passion vine that I did try to kill over the frost, and unfortunately it is still coming out. Is there anything else that I can do to try to kill it? Because it's just growing all over our yard.
Right. I have to laugh because
I've never heard anyone say, how do I kill a plant
exactly,
to you?
and that's one of the plants that are sold in the garden centers that people pretty much enjoy. Yes, you can use glyphosate. That's a weed and grass killer. Spray it on the foliage. It goes in through the foliage and goes down to the root. Now, what I would probably do if it's growing all over the place is cut everything off, and then as it starts to sprout out of the ground, that's the time to spray. Because the problem is, if you're doing a killer that kills everything and you're up in the air, you're going to get drift on your desirable plants. But as it comes out of the ground, treat it. If it tries to resprout again in a month or so, spray again.
All right, sounds like it's on. It's 4 at Becky's house. All right, let's see what's going on with Don in Virginia Beach.
Yes, I have a question for Dabney.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, I have some tomato plants growing, and some of them, the bottom leaves turn in, and they look like they're drying up, yet I'm trying to keep enough water on them. Do you know what that might be a sign of?
Well, again, as we were speaking of, with the rains and us watering, I really think possibly too much water. And 2 things to keep in mind when we're talking about water. You know, that's the hardest thing is, when does a plant need to water? How much do you put on? But keep in mind that regularity. I don't know of anything in the garden that really needs to be watered every day. So, you know, it's good to check every 2 to 3 days. If the soil looks damp, then hold off a little bit longer. Also, the quantity of water. I was talking to someone yesterday, and he said, well, I don't water but once a week. And I said, well, that's probably good timing, but how long do you water? He said, well, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, the quantity of the water, if you put too much on, will cause problems, because particularly what happens when you put so much water at one time and the bottom soil stays wet, that's where the older roots are, and that's when your older leaves are going to show the damage. So watch and don't water too frequently. Let them dry out a little bit between watering, and don't water too heavily. If you've got a tomato plant that's 5 foot tall, 2-3 gallons of water, 4 gallons maximum is more than enough water. And if you leave a sprinkler 30 minutes or so, you're putting on 8 or 10 gallons.
All right. I wish we had gallons more time, but we have no more. If you would like to talk to Dabney, though, he's headed over to the Wavy web desk. He'll be there for a live chat. Just log on to wavy.com. Ask him your gardening questions. Just count to like 100. to give them time to walk over there. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.